All right, good evening and welcome to this workshop session of the Lewisville City Council. We do have a quorum. First up on the agenda is the discussion of the consent and regular agenda items. So we'll go ahead and move through that. First off, I've got Councilmember Tipton with the invocation, and I've got Councilmember Green with the pledge to the flags. We have a presentation of the certificate of election to Councilmember Kuykendall, and Judge Holman is going to do the oath. Item D1, public hearing considering an ordinance for an SUP accessory structure. Questions on that one? Item F, consent agenda. We've got the minutes. We have the economic development agreement for Nevermore Properties. Questions on that one? Item 4, approval of Amendment 3 to the professional services agreement for public safety campus project with Peak. Does this close that all out, or?
Yes, for PPV services, we're still working on what burn and the closeout.
The closeout for burn and the electrical. Okay.
Question, are we going to get this money back from the contractor?
We have negotiated some reductions. As you can see, there's some, it's kind of a split. The city added some, the contractor did some, the architect did some, so, but I think we've concluded a fair settlement.
Okay.
Item 5, I'm going to recuse myself on that, so we'll probably need to pull this one out.
Okay.
Because I am Lewisville Valley 1. So
I saw that, yes. I saw that.
So we're on this particular project.
yeah.
We are saving, right?
He's just pulling it off.
Oh, what am I? I'm sorry.
Talking
Never mind. I'm at the wrong one.
We're on item 5, so.
Yeah.
So I did have a question about 5 and 6 together.
I need to step away. If you got a question on 5, then I need to step out.
Oh, okay.
Listen to the attorney. She's trying to take it.
Okay. I was just curious. That's a really big project. Are we confident that this one firm can handle all of that too? That's huge.
Yes, yeah, they've done the projects for us in the past in the Oaks neighborhoods. So we have a track record with them, and we went out a full RFQ, had multiple firms apply for it. We reviewed all the proposals, and they were the best. Still one we selected.
Okay, all right.
And also, just based on what happened with one of the other ones, I want to make sure that we track their safety as we go through this, because the other contractor did, was it Prairie Creek?
The ditch, the cave-in?
No, just not that one, but the other neighborhood that got done, and they weren't quite up to par with safety regulations, so.
Okay.
I'll take both of these.
Brent, do you want to respond?
Well, this is the design services, so it's not the construction yet.
You're right.
And this is a phased project, so Valley 1 will go into design first. Once that design is underway and under progress, Valley 4 will start. So we have them kind of phased.
Mine.
Somebody's phone is vibrating.
Next step.
Is it you? Okay.
Can you tell me about the meeting tomorrow night at Animal Services?
All right. Item 6, design services for Lewisville Valley 4. Questions? Item 7. Change order number 6 for Corporate Drive segments 2 and 3.
Now, this is a significant amount of money that it's going to be reduced, but we're going to roll it into the other.
So there's another contractor that's going to be doing work out there, and so it made sense for them to shift some of the responsibilities over to them, just from an efficiency standpoint. So yes, I don't know what the dollar amount will be to shift over. You?
Yeah, so we have the Corporate Drive project, phases 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are under contract with Sun Construction, done the construction for that. We have another project ongoing in the vicinity of phases 2 and 3, which is preventing them from completing their work. So to close out the segments 2 and 3 project, we're going to change order out the work from that added to the 4 and 5 work under the same contractor, so they can do it at a later date once the other contractor is out of the way. We're kind of
This is just a move it on paper.
The dollar amount's not going to be?
Yeah, so there'll be another change order upcoming sometime in June. We're still negotiating it to add this scope of work to the segments 4 and 5 project. So we're just moving the money from one project to another project.
Okay, that was but the same dollar amount.
It should be about the same dollar amount, yes. There might be other work associated with that change order, but this scope of work, this dollar value will be added to that other contract.
Okay.
Good question.
Other questions on that? If not, item 8, Boys and Girls Club disbursement. And that's for HVAC. Item 9, resolution approving a grant agreement with the Federal Highway Administration.
Are we actually going to get that money? Oh, I did say that.
Yeah.
Are we actually going to get it?
They haven't
They haven't put it on hold yet?
They haven't been messing with streets and roads, so.
About that. Amazing.
Item 10, Ronnie will need to recuse herself for this one. Any questions on that? I think we have Councilmember, our City Manager Powell will also recuse on that one.
Since I'm not voting, I won't recuse, but you'll see that the one difference is that the City Council will authorize the Deputy City Manager designate, so my...
Your recusal is
I'm not the one making the decision, so y'all are making the decision.
Got it. Any questions on that one? Item 11, initiating our Board Commission Committee appointment process. I have a motion for that if anybody wants to take that one on. So we've shifted it around a little bit so that everybody gets to appoint people during their term. So you won't be stuck as a council member in your 3-year term only with one seat, like only being able to do animal services in that column. You'll actually shift from year to year. So at some point you'll have appointed you'll have been involved in the direct appointment of somebody.
Just go with it.
Yeah. Jennifer and I worked it out.
You're his credibility.
Jennifer gets me. We're good. I know you don't like it. That's why I did it.
I just don't, I'm not ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
I may have lots of questions.
So I've got Kate and Kuykendall, CDBG, Library, Parks, Parks and Library Development Corp, and TERS 4. I've got Kelly and Meredith, Old Town Design Review, Planning and Zoning, TERS 2, ZBOA, Lewisville Local Government Corporation, Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, and I've got Green and Tipton, Arts Advisory, Animal Services, Tax, TERS 1, TERS 3, and Fire, Crime Control and Prevention and Emergency Medical District Boards. And then it'll shift. All right, in a year. On item H, reports. We've got our quarterly attendance report. Should be in your council packet, so if you have any questions on that. Don't have any city council and staff reports.
I do have one report before we go on to the workshop.
Okay.
Whenever you're done.
And then in closed session, we do have items on property acquisition. We have the election of our mayor pro tem and deputy mayor pro tem. And then we've got economic development. Any questions on that before I throw it back to Claire for council and staff reports?
I just wanted to introduce our new communications and community engagement director. This is Jennifer Brown. She hails most recently from City of Dallas, but before that also worked in various agencies in New York City. So don't hold that against her. She's a Texan through and through. She's actually originally from Wisconsin, but then moved to Texas. But I thought you guys would have a good opportunity to meet her. Jennifer, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, as she said, don't hold that against me. I'm originally from Wisconsin. My husband and I are from Texas back in the day and returned after living in New York City for 15 years. So we're happy to be home again, and I'm very honored to be here serving Lewisville and hopefully a resident of Lewisville in no time You know, as a matter of fact, actually looking for a place. So if you know anybody, let me know. Thank you.
Ronnie, don't you have an ADU somewhere?
Thank you so much.
Well, about 5 of them.
All right. With that, we're done with the agenda. We'll go ahead and move over to the Thrive fee schedule. Erica Tang is giving a presentation.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. My name is Erica Tang. I'm the Recreation Manager for the Parks and Recreation Department, for those of you that don't know me. We've been working on this for a little while now, and so I'm excited to present where we are at in the process for the Thrive membership fees. So we'll cover a variety of topics. We'll get into each a little bit here more in a minute, but we'll start back at the beginning and moving forward to where we are now. So Thrive is an 87,000 multi-generational recreation center in Lewisville. It's on the corner of Valley and Corporate. It hosts a variety of amenities. There is an indoor child area, a child watch, an oversized gymnasium, indoor pool with different amenities inside the pool, 2 fitness studios. Upstairs we have indoor walking track, a variety of equipment from cardio strength, equipment to utilize, and then moving over to the passive side of the building, there's a variety of classroom spaces, rental spaces, and a lot of gathering and lounge areas for people to kind of find their nooks and crannies and work and be. Thrive sits inside of Memorial Park, so there's an adjacent trail system, as well as the park-like setting with the playground and the green space, and then Thrive Nature Park adjacent to it. So lots of opportunity outside of the building, but also inside of the building. Going back to the roots, the financial support and sustainability strategy is what we use to make business decisions. And for those of you that haven't seen this before, how this works is the bottom left is the greatest community benefit. So this is going to be our open access to green spaces, to parks, and that have a lower cost recovery percentage compared to going to the upper right is where your private lessons, merchandise, things like that, that have a more individualized benefit, have a higher cost recovery expectation recovery. And then everything kind of falls out in between from programs, access, events, and that. So a little bit on the history. The cost recovery was really established when we went to set the membership fees for Thrive. It kind of gave us a guiding framework to set those fees. And so membership fees at Thrive are under this drop-in monitored access category with a cost recovery goal of 10 to 25%. So the original fees were set for Thrive prior to the COVID pandemic, and we ended up opening Thrive in October 2020, mid-pandemic. So when we originally set the membership fees at Thrive, the idea was that there would be programs, that it would not be an all-inclusive membership, that there would be a menu of programs that were included in the membership and then some that were not. Because of the state of the world at the time, we made the decision to include everything that we could into the membership to promote the sales and get people into the building. In January 2024 was the first membership fee increase that we did to our non-resident fees. And then later that year in December 2024, we started to look at our fitness classes that were included in the membership and identify some that should be pulled out into what we call a pay-for-play structure. And so our original goal was to have 15% of those classes to be pay-for-play. And those ones that would maintain included in the membership are those introductory level classes that really get people's feet wet into fitness. They could walk in the door and step into the class and be successful. And the ones that were paid were the more intermediate or advanced classes that required some knowledge or some skill to participate or a higher level of certification, and then our aquatics fitness classes based on the aquatic environment. So this year, well, every year we do a cost recovery analysis of the department and how we're performing. This year we partnered with a different group called 110% that gave us a different analysis than we've seen in the previous years. And so what the analysis gave us is we were actually able to look at each of the facilities that we had and how the programs performed along the performed in each of the service categories. So this is specifically for everything that is happening at Thrive. So as you can see, drop-in monitored access is performing well, and looking over at drop-in activities, this is where a majority or all of those fitness classes live. And so there's a discrepancy there in meeting that cost recovery goal and across the board for some of the other service categories as well. Looking at the direct cost recovery, we looked at this year over year. As you can see, the revenues are continuing to increase at a steady rate, while our expenses are significantly increasing and outpacing the revenues. And so over time, this gap is just going to continue to increase. And so we're really looking at strategies and how to close that gap and make the long term of Thrive more sustainable. One of the things to note here is between fiscal year 23 to 24, there was a pretty significant jump in expenses. And so when we dug into those numbers, what we saw is there is a significant increase in our utilities, gas, electric, and then an over 60% increase in our water usage. And that was also the year that we did a compensation study, which made up about 10% of the increases in expenses as well. And so that increase in utilities really tells us that we're seeing a lot of people come through the door, use the facility, and access it. So this is a heat map of our membership base at Thrive. So the white X is where Thrive is, and the highest concentration of members are directly located in the immediate property around Thrive. And as you get further out into the city limits of Lewisville, our membership numbers decrease, and that's what we expect for a makeup of memberships. Looking at the demographic of membership types, so on the chart on the left, you can see that about 44% of our memberships are senior memberships, followed by family memberships, and then the rest making up the youth and adult memberships. The chart on the right is the revenue distribution by membership type, so you can see over 58% of our membership revenue is driven by those family memberships, followed by adult, and then senior and youth making up the remainder portion of that. So, as I mentioned, Thrive offers an abundance of programs. Fiscal year 23, we were really coming out of COVID and struggling to find programs that worked. We saw a lot of turnover in our programmatic staff. And then in fiscal year 24, when the compensation study went into effect, we were able to recruit and retain highly qualified programmatic staff that were creative and able to get these programs really off the ground. And so we've continued to see an increase of number of programs that we've been able to offer at Thrive. Over each of the years, there's about over 50% of the programs that we offer are free to the membership at Thrive, with the rest of the programs being paid. So throughout this process, we engaged a lot of different groups. We had workshops. We went to Park Board in March, and then again in May, we put out a membership survey, and then we hosted a Thrive Talks event, which was a kind of town hall forum where members could come through Thrive, talk to staff, provide feedback, ideas, questions, comments, concerns, all of the like, and really engage with the staff and what they're wanting to see for the future of Thrive. So I mentioned the survey. We put out a survey in March to April of this year. The survey went out for a 2-week period. We sent emails to all of our members, 4 emails to all of the Thrive membership, and then we had flyers distributed throughout the facility as people checked in or walked into the fitness classes with a QR code for members to access the survey as well. And so it gave us a really good temperature and pulse of where Thrive is at and how members view their membership at Thrive. And so over 96% rated their membership at Thrive as good or excellent value, with over 80% of the respondents saying Thrive compares favorably to other competing facilities. Over 73% of respondents indicated that a fee increase would be acceptable, and we asked how people would want their fees increased, and over 52% said that they would prefer smaller, more frequent increases over a short amount of time compared to larger increases over a large amount of time. So in the survey, we left an open-ended section for people to provide feedback and input on whatever they wanted, really. And there were some common themes and trends that we heard in this section of the survey results. And so a lot of them centered around memberships and access to memberships, the fitness floor and how busy and crowded it can get on the fitness floor, and then access to the pool. Internally and operationally, we've started identifying some ways to work through this. We've identified some pieces of equipment that we're working on purchasing that will help distribute some of the use in the strength area to different parts of the facility, and then working with staff to see if we can open the pool or at least the lap lanes a little bit earlier so people can get their workout in before. So I mentioned that we did a variety of workshops. So we met with the staff out at Thrive, the Thrive subcommittee, the Thrive ambassadors, which are our volunteer group, and then Park Board. And again, there were some common themes that we heard from all of these groups. One of them was that there was a need for an increase in membership fees while making sure that it was still accessible to the Lewisville community. So this is the recommendation that we have. We looked at a variety of other cities regionally with comparable facilities, and I have a slide on that here in a minute. But one of the common things that we also heard was the need to split out the senior and active adult membership. So we continue to hear that there's a group of seniors within Thrive that only use Thrive as traditional senior programming. They're on the passive side of the building. They're in the bingo, bunko, maybe the meal program. And this is really our price-sensitive group. So we wanted to make sure that we were sensitive to that. And then we heard that there was a large group of that senior population that use Thrive and the amenities that are within Thrive. So these active adults are in the pool, using the fitness floor, using the equipment, and in the fitness classes. And when we did an analysis of our fitness classes, actually about 74% of the makeup participants in our fitness classes were those senior memberships. And so we know that they're in the fitness classes and utilizing that side of the space. And so that senior membership would really allow those people who use Thrive as a socialization or a way to get out for that and stay on the passive side of the building. And then the active adult membership would allow the full use of the space and all of the amenities that it has, and in line with the utilization of it. So since the active adult membership was new, we also needed to look at a comparable rate for non-residents, so we can offer that as well. And so we looked at this with a similar price adjustment. One thing to note here is that the active adult membership for Thrive Active Adults was at $75. Our non-resident for seniors on the passive side is $90, so we're still well below that price. As I mentioned, we looked at similar facilities with amenities like Thrive. I know the city has the typical benchmark cities, but we really thought it was important to look at the communities with similar facilities. And so we looked at those. We heard from Park Board that it was very important to look at the median household income as well, so that we were sensitive to that. And so this chart goes from low income, the lowest median income, to a higher median income on the bottom. And then Thrive is at the top there for comparison. So the most similar facility to us is the Ark in DeSoto, with a very similar median income and amenities that they offer. And then the next one that we're most similar to is the Rec and Grapevine. So we put these into a graph and looked at each of the annual membership types. This is the youth membership type. So again, we're looking at the median income going from left to right to lowest to highest, with Thrive on the far left. So the blue or black is the current rate, and then the orange is the proposed rate. So for the youth membership, we're well below what any other city or comparable facility charges, and below the average. When looking at the senior annual membership, the orange is the proposed senior membership, with the dark blue as the proposed active adult membership. So again, you can see we're well below the median average there, and below what other similar neighboring facilities and similar facilities are charging for their senior memberships. One of the things that some other facilities do is they have a wet or dry access, and so we're looking at the senior versus the active adult, and so this is how that fared out there. And then looking at the adult, one thing to note here is the Rec and Grapevine looks it looks lower than us. One thing that they do is they charge the same rate for their youth, senior, and annual or adult residents. Everybody pays $125 for an individual membership. So they aren't subsidizing their adults like they are, or their seniors and youth like other facilities are. So again, below the median there, and then this is where the family falls, again, comparable to what other similar facilities are charging. So again, these are the rates that we are looking at proposing. We're planning to bring these through the fiscal year 27 budget process and fee schedule for approval. Again, one of the things that we asked in the survey was how members would like to see rate increases. And so one of the things that we looked at was the CPI over the last 3 years, with 23, 24, 25, an average of 2 to 2.5%, and a 3-year cumulative CPI increase of 6.86%. We looked at it over the past, since we've opened the facility in 2020, and we've seen about a 27% CPI increase. And so what the plan is that we would do incremental rate adjustments to keep pace with the CPI, not to exceed the cumulative previous years that we're looking at, and that we would alternate between residents and non-residents, so we're not increasing membership fees on our entire membership base at once. And then we talked a little bit about the pay for play. So again, our original goal was 15%. We're currently maintaining about a 30% pay for play model right now, with a 5-year goal to reach about 50% of those fitness classes to be paid. One thing that we continually hear from our members is that our fitness classes are in high demand. Some of them sell out within minutes of them opening, and it's difficult for members to access those classes. The other thing that we heard from the survey is that there was a strong support for including some fitness classes in the membership, because that was a driver for their membership. So this is a list of the current fitness classes that we have at Thrive. The green are those traditional beginner level classes that we talked about, and the intent is that these would continue to be included in the membership. If there was a high demand for some of these classes, we could look at offering a second or third time and making that time paid, but there would still be an entry level class that was included with the membership. The black or dark blue is various different classes that are also currently included in the membership, and those are ones that we would look at to either move to the intermediate and advanced classes and it be paid, or that we could offer a separate time during high demand times and that be paid with an included option as well. And then the orange are current classes that are intermediate or advanced that we currently offer at Thrive, and they are paid. So this is a really cool program pricing tool. I mentioned 110% the group that we partnered with for cost recovery. One of the things that we have now is this program pricing tool. And so it's really a tool for our teams to be successful for their programs. So what they can do, or what we can do, is we can plug in a program, for example, a 5K fun run, and we can put the event through this program pricing tool, and we can tell it what time it's going to happen, the location, what the staffing cost is going to be, what the supply cost is going to be, and then where it falls in the cost recovery continuum as far as service category. And it'll suggest a price for that program to meet the cost recovery goal for that category. And then it also has a retrospective element as well, where after the event happens, we can go back to the same tool and plug in the event of what actually happened, and it can tell us how that program performed on the cost recovery continuum as well. And so we can also use this tool to look at previous and current classes that we're offering to identify maybe some programs or classes that aren't meeting their cost recovery goals, and looking at adjusting those from this tool. So we're super excited about this tool, and the team's really excited about it as well. So. And then moving forward, we have the Park Alliance. One of the things that they offer is a scholarship program, and they include scholarships to Thrive for that. Our annual members also have current benefits of 10% off camps and 10% off rentals, and then those group exercise, which are the introductory level classes, will continue to remain included in that membership, and we plan to retain those benefits as well. I mentioned alternating resident and non-resident price adjustments, so we'll continue with that. And then one of the big things that we heard particularly from staff was enhancing the customer journey and experience and maintaining the value that people feel for their membership. And so the team has been kind of tasked with some ideas from, the time someone interacts with us on social media or on the website to when they walk through the front door, and how can we enhance that customer experience and journey for all of our members. And one of those ideas was a rewards program, so rewarding our members as they come through the facility, engage with us, participate in programs, and celebrating along with the journey with us. That is all I have for you all. I'm available for questions. Stacy and Marcus are also here available for questions. I also wanted to shout out Jasmine Gindrad is in the back. She is our Thrive Assistant Manager. Her and her team have been instrumental in helping us get to where we are now. So
Several comments, questions. Was the active adult concept provided in the survey?
It was not.
Okay, so they didn't really get a chance to analyze that.
It was, we did, through conversations with the subcommittee and the park board, those were all kind of happening at the same time that we put out the survey. So we didn't know that idea or that concept was desirable when we put out the survey.
Do you know what the original concept was behind the $25 fee just for seniors? Was there a concept just to make that $25 5 years ago, or was it just make it $25?
As far as when we opened the facility?
Right.
Like to even hold it forever? Was that the thought process
Yeah,
of
was
it?
there any kind of concept to do it that way?
No.
Okay. It seems like we have like 44% senior participation. 52% said they did not want large increases, 3 to 5 years. I'm not sure I'm on board with the $25 to $75 on-board fee. It seems like we ought to do 50 and then incrementally do 75. We have heard some comments, although probably not a lot, that they don't want that kind of jump. I certainly would not be on board with that. It seems like the youth, though, the youth is a little, it seems like we could raise that just a hair. We only want a small amount on the youth. That jump was way higher in the survey result, in your results over there. Also, I remember on the merch we were going to look at, I think the last time we saw the merch, it was only making like 5,000. Do we know what the number is, how much we made on merch?
I do not have that number on hand. We can absolutely get that for you. One of the things that the team is looking at, in the past we've invested in the merchandise and bought to sell. And so what we are looking at is a on-demand model where we can have it available online for people to purchase and then it drop ship or ship to them. So we're not having that initial investment in merchandise, but still have it as an amenity for people.
I'm sure the 100th year probably had a little bit more sales.
I'm sorry?
I'm sure the 100th year you probably had a little bit more sales.
Maybe.
But I'm not sure it's worth it for 5,000 if we're not making a whole money.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I've got.
The questions?
So I had just a quick question. First of all, I just want to say I really appreciate that we're able to have this conversation since before Thrive even opened, we were talking about we have to make sure that this is a sustainable facility, that we can financially make the numbers work as it ages, and we have to maintain it and so forth. And it sounds like, based on the results of the survey, that the people who are using the facility see the value in it. And so I'm encouraged to see that they recognize that, well, hey, we don't want to pay more, but if we need to in order to keep this facility what it is, then we're willing to do that. So on this, I don't know what slide this is. I think my slides are different than yours, but on the Thrive program cost recovery, where it shows kind of what our goals are and where our actuals were for 2025.
This one?
Yes, that one. So if we move to a structure where we're talking about adjusting the membership fees as presented here, does that get us where we need to be, all of these categories? Well, maybe not the ones that aren't like the food and beverage type stuff, but where does that put us with all of this?
Yeah, it'll get us closer, right? We look at it as a continuum as a whole, and so again, we know that those more the more individualized benefits help subsidize the community benefits for the facility. So yes, it would get us closer to our goals, but we look at it as a continuum as a whole in that sense.
Okay. And then my other question would be, so as far as the senior membership goes, and then we're talking about, a $50 jump for an annual pass, do we have the option for seniors to kind of make installments on that payment, like a monthly fee, or is it something that has to be done like one time?
It's definitely something we can look at. It's our system would, I think, allow for it, so we can definitely discuss it internally if that's something that we would want to, but it could be an option.
I'm just thinking of a way to kind of soften the blow of that.
Yeah.
That increase would be to break it up into smaller payments, so it's whatever
Right size.
50 divided by 12 is. Yeah.
Other questions?
I have a question about the merge, because it seems like we talked about this a year ago, that we were going to stop the investment in pre-ordering and stuff and go to an online model.
Yeah.
And why has that stalled out?
So ADA has really been a hiccup in that. We're trying to find a partner that is also ADA accessible, since we're going to be utilizing the feature as well. One of the things that the Thrive team is also working on is our brand standards for Thrive. So our brand standards right now are very, very strict, and so we're looking at those and modifying them a little bit so that we can create more appealing and fun merchandise. And so I think we have a goal of the fall to look at the branding of that, and then rolling out some of that on-demand merch after that. So hopefully we should see something this fall with some merch online.
Just a few questions. You may have the answers, may not. Do we have an idea of the percentage of non-residents as far as total users?
Not off the top of my head, but we have that number.
I would love to know that. CPI numbers seem low. CPI last year was 2.7, I think.
So this was, Marcus helped me with this. We were looking at the recreation
Category.
CPI.
Okay, so you weren't looking at the general CPI. Okay.
Right, yeah, recreation.
Okay, fair enough. And I really appreciate the two slides, the one showing cost growth versus revenue generation, and then the second slide showing here where we're trying to, our target goals and are we making them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really is what we need to be able to inform what we're doing. But I'm looking at that and I'm seeing, we started with a $1 million gap roughly when it opened, and we're at almost a little over a $2 million gap.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's $2 million out of the general fund that is subsidizing this facility.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine if that's what we want to do, but just we need to be aware of that. So I think that's a really important data set that we need to kind of keep in mind when we're looking through all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Was the mindset that active adults would still be employed, that they didn't have as many fixed income issues, and that the less active adults that only use the quiet side maybe had more fixed income issues, or was there some thought given to that?
Yeah, so those traditional seniors are the more price sensitive. They're the ones that were in the Legacy Senior Center, right, that are still here with us and utilizing the space for what it is. And really we're seeing those active adults. The active adult senior membership starts at age 60 plus, and so it still is a working group that are in those classes and have that membership.
Okay. Well, maybe there's a way to look at that and say if you're 65 and older, we're going to go this way. If you're 60 to 65, you're going to go that way.
Good look at that.
Maybe to split the difference and absorb it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
William, would that help you?
I don't like the jump from 50 to 75. I think that's not in the spirit of what they said in the survey. They said they wanted every 1 to 2 years, so this seems like that is a large jump.
I gotcha. Okay.
And we could look at the youth.
Yeah, we haven't done a price increase since 24.
They got working.
That was only non-residents in 24. We haven't done a price increase for residents since we opened.
So, in other words, we backed ourselves into a corner because we haven't looked at this.
Yeah, basically. And then the youth, I still think the youth
We've got working parents.
It's a low amount compared to what the average is, in my opinion.
Well, and I think what's driving that is that the youth tend to congregate at the bottom left corner of the recovery scale. So we're absolutely subsidizing them more based on what we set out as a cost recovery. So that's kind of the question you have to, I think that we're all trying to solve for, right? Is that, and I get it. I want kids that thrive hanging out there versus hanging out in their neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So
But there's also, I'm curious if you happen to know how many kids have, because you only get a youth pass if your whole family isn't going, right? Because otherwise you would just get a family pass. So there's probably a certain percentage of the kids that are there that are part of a family pass. I don't know how many people are there how many kids have membership that's just them.
Right.
So I don't know how much of a difference that would make if we increase that?
So what I'm hearing is let's find some ways to smooth this out and not make it be quite as big a bump because of the survey, and we want to be able to meet some expectations. I do appreciate the split out. I think that's a smart move. If you've got folks that are just going to use the quiet side of the building, then I mean that's a lot less impact on the building. That's a lot less cost recovery we have to deal with. So I think that makes sense. But I completely understand if we put a survey out there that said, hey, we'd like to do it smoother. Let's see if there's a way we can do that a little bit smoother. Is what I'm hearing from council.
Is that what, I didn't know if I had heard from the others. Is that what everyone's wanting? Okay.
Yes? No? Maybe?
She's talking.
No, I'm talking to her too.
Yeah. So if we can see if there's a way to tweak that, it sounds like in that senior side. Other questions or comments?
Is there anything else you need, Stacy? No. Okay, we're good.
Thank you all. Great work. Great data. I'd much rather just make these decisions based on data. We've got policy, but then let's come back to it. So super great job. The facility's awesome as always.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Patriot Point Veteran-Focused Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Project Overview. Our Assistant Director, Ashley Farron, is going to introduce Travis Barber, partner at Titanium Housing Partners. We've only got about 12, 13 minutes here. So if you can't, we'll come back in.
Okay, I'll be really brief. I just wanted to give a little background, especially since we have a new council member. So if an affordable housing developer is seeking a 9% low-income housing tax credit through the state, they request a resolution of support from the city. And so Titanium did come to Lewisville requesting a resolution of support for the project they'll be discussing, but council had a lot of questions. And so what tonight is for Titanium to answer those questions for you. They have not received the 9% application. It has not been approved yet. That's dependent on zoning changes. So that's for a later date. Today is just to discuss answering those questions that you had. So I will pass it over to Travis. We also have some partners from Military Veteran Peer Network and also Resource Recovery Center that will talk on a couple slides as well. So I'll pass it over to Travis.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for letting us come back this afternoon and represent Patriot Point, Fox Avenue. We have about 20 slides. I'm going to try to make it in about 10 minutes and leave at least 5 minutes or so for some questions. So we'll get started. This is a 4-part presentation. I'm mostly going to focus on part 1, the development overview and updates. Part 2, the veteran-focused housing studies and key findings. We'll go over the community engagement just a little bit, and then I'll go over our financial contributions as a developer. So on April 16th, we formally submitted our PD zoning application to the city of Lewisville. The zoning application was the same that we submitted before as a straight rezoning, except for this time, we've got 3 critical updates. That includes a new 1,500 square foot Patriot Path Service Center. That's a dedicated resident service center for veterans that live on site and open to the community. Whether you live in the 48 units or 2 blocks over and you're a veteran and you want free veteran services, you can come to the community and seek those services. That'll be a PD restriction written into our PD that we must comply with to comply with our zoning. We'll also have universal ADA design elements for the 48 units and additional development standards I'll touch on in a little bit. I wanted to go back to what Ashley brought up. We did submit a 2026 9% housing tax credit application. In February, we came to you for a resolution of support, which we received. And now we're proud to announce that in this really competitive application process, we're in the top 10 applications in this region. And what that means is this deal is slated for a $16 million equity award for tax credits. That's $16 million of investment into the city of Lewisville that at this point, based on where we're at in the process, is only contingent upon the approved zoning application. So while Ashley's correct, we're not approved yet, we are in the top 10 and we are projected to be funded $16 million in tax credit awards that can go into this development. Here's a quick look at the site plan. It's very similar to the first one you may have seen. one 3-story building with 48 units. But what I want to highlight is this new Patriot Path Service Center, standalone 1-story building structure that will be gated so that it can be publicly accessed, but separate from the private community for people that live in the community. It'll serve, like I mentioned earlier, both the residents and veterans on site, as well as veterans in the surrounding community. Here's a rendering that our architect, Arrive Architecture Group, put together. This is for the residential building. Again, 1 building, 3 stories. This is a rendering we're more than willing to put into our PD as a restriction or a requirement as an exhibit to make sure this is the final look of the project. And the second rendering is for our Patriot Path Service Center. So this gives you an overview of how the 1-story service center kind of lays out adjacent to the residential structure. It interacts with the site plan. We're really proud of how this turned out. As far as development standards, these are standards we are offering to add to our zoning as additional restrictions. We don't want to just build multifamily. We want to build a highly amenitized, above and beyond multifamily development that is strictly for veterans. Our goal to do that is all units will be granite countertops, 9-foot ceilings, covered balconies, elevators served, ADA accessible, and of course the mentioned 1,500 square foot resident services building would be written into our PD as a required use. These are photos from other communities of ours, just so you can see a little bit of what we've done. And we're really proud of all of our common area amenities. We invest a lot into the design and the finishes. So these are some common area photos, and then these are some unit photos that we wanted to show you. Granite countertops, hardwood flooring, hardwood cabinets, large windows and balconies in every unit. Really, really nice units. The last part of part 1, we wanted to announce with excitement our partnership with the Denton County Military Peer Network, which we entered in an MOU with on April 14th. We've got Casey here with MVPN. And Casey, I want to give you a moment if you want to say some words about MVPN and maybe how Patriot Point can be a benefit for y'all's program to help reach more veterans who are in need.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. Hey everyone, my name is Casey Brown. I'm the Executive Director for the Denton County Military Veteran Peer Network. So we are statewide. We are under the Texas Veterans Commission, and we are supervised by Denton County MHMR Center. So what we kind of plan to do with that MOU is provide direct services for any veteran and their family members that come and stay either within the vicinity or in the local community. And what does those services mean? It could be specific one-on-one kind of more transactional work for disability benefits, education benefits, if they're seeking employment, if they're dealing with divorces, marital issues, We also have peer support groups. So we kind of have non-traditional peer support groups as well as more traditional ones where we talk about kind of issues. We talk about post-traumatic stress, moral injury, substance use, and then we have outings as well. So we'll actually take veterans out in the community to do fishing, golfing, hiking, horseback riding, equine therapy. So we bring all that we've been doing in the community and we just offer it to the residents here as well.
Thanks, Casey. Yeah. Appreciate it. And I want to highlight that we will be working directly with MVPN. We'll be paying them a one-time $50,000 startup fee to provide services, basically manage the entire service operation and part of the development, and then an ongoing monthly fee of about $1,000. MVPN will not be seeking any additional assistance from the city of Lewisville. It'll be all funded by us as the private developer. And we can obviously share a copy of this MOU if y'all would like to look at more details. I'm going to skip over the next few. We did a lot of research, hundreds of hours of research and outreach on the findings of, is a veteran-focused community needed and is it impactful? We looked at it on a national scale, and all I want to talk about nationally is the VA helps 50,000 veterans a year, and it's really up to the city and the communities within the city if they're capitalizing on those financial programs, those financial aid programs. Let me go to the next slide here. I want to point out the first 2 sections here are broken down through the Texas Veterans Commission, a study that was done in 2024 that really elaborated on, there's a ton of veterans who responded to surveys that The two biggest needs are housing and VA benefits navigation. It's not a lack of the availability for these services, it's a lack of these veterans don't know how to start the process. They don't have help or coordinators that help them through obtaining those benefits and navigation. And housing was one of the top priorities as well. We're trying to combine and meet those two top priorities from this 2024 Texas Veteran Commission needs assessment. In Denton County, there's roughly 43,000 veterans. In our PMA, or basically our zip code, we got a letter from apartment market data that estimated roughly 1,500 veterans who would qualify to live at our development. And their letter goes on to blatantly say, we would expect that you could easily fill your 48 proposed units at Patriot Point Development. So we can share a copy of that letter if that would be helpful. This last slide I want to get to, and probably our final one, because I want to mention two things. One, we've reached out with the Dallas VA and connected with the program manager there. And by the way, the Dallas VA serves 30 miles beyond its office, which includes Lewisville. And we said, how many veterans do y'all serve currently? Well, they have 770 veterans actively engaged in their housing program. And we said, how many of those are in the city of Lewisville? And the response was, there's not a lot. There's only about 22. And the reason is, there's only 2 properties in the city of Lewisville that actively market to the Dallas VA for these vouchers to house veterans. One of those is Autumn Breeze. They've done a really outstanding job. We've had an opportunity to meet with the manager there and get her feedback as we build our development. And we're hoping she'll be involved in our project going forward. But the other one is Recovery Resource Council. And I wanted to give Jose, who's here with Recovery Resource Council, a minute to just speak about what he sees in his day-to-day. Recovery Resource Council does housing placement management for veterans in the city and in the county. And I'll let you take it away, Jose, if you want to.
Thank you, Trav. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the council, to let me speak. Basically, Trav's got a good idea about this. I'm the Denton case manager. I cover the Denton County. But so I oversee Lewisville, I see all these different other counties, the Colony, out to Sanger, but mainly Lewisville. It's like a corridor. Now it's funny, as I was sitting there, I was looking at the map, and I was noticing the corridor of the people going into the city of Dallas for employment, for jobs like that, going in towards the DFW airport. So it's definitely a nice little corridor, and of course as you go up to Denton. So for me, I think I take in probably like 10 clients a week. Maybe 3 of those are mainly looking for the Lewisville area. I was looking at some of my facts, some of my stats I was looking at, was I'm already working with 39 properties in the city of Lewisville for these veterans. And so as far as he was mentioning about the HUD badge, just like that, he is correct. There's not a lot of properties that do accept, and I work with Autumn Breeze quite often because I'm the only one that pretty much that does help veterans, does take this HUD badge voucher. So this property, this idea that Travis is bringing up to y'all, I think is a great idea. Helpful there is a need for these veterans to need housing. This corridor, like I told you about, it's right in the middle. It's definitely affordable for a lot of people. And so, I'm trying to see my last points. HUD badge, housing, and those resources, I love that he talked about that as far as having in place that the veterans are able to go and try to file for their pension, Service Connect and stuff. That is a huge thing that a lot of veterans get released and don't go to the VA and know about these pensions they're able to get. So it's like so much like, please go get any opportunities, any services that you've done. We all serve. And I feel like if you have done your time, you're able to get these benefits.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jose. I don't think we're going to have time. In the remainder of part 2, there's a lot of case studies that we tried to put together and highlight some of our favorites. I would encourage you all, if you have a moment after today's meeting, to go through these and let us know if you have any questions. If I could highlight one, the City of San Antonio Valor Hill Apartments is an actual LIHTC development with a very similar structure to what we're proposing. And this, for the city of San Antonio, was kind of tagged as a flagship development. They had a groundbreaking, a ribbon cutting. They have impacted so many veterans from day one. They had a nice statement from the mayor at their ribbon cutting, and we were blown away. And we want to be here to offer a partnership with the city, not for any financial contributions, but to make sure we're putting this investment in something that you think is really beneficial. We've drawn the best picture of what we think that looks like, but we're at the negotiating table and willing to adjust as needed. And I'll finish my presentation there if there's any questions.
I just want to say, I actually, if you go back to the part one of this, I actually got to see this in San Antonio, although very cold that day. But
oh, really?
Great property, whole totally different concept. But I do think that they're at 49 units. I believe they had a waiting list. I appreciate the fact that you did a lot of work on this, just like we asked. So I think it's. I'm definitely on board for sure.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'm going to need more than the time we have available. Can we come back?
We can come back in. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Why don't we go ahead and we'll take a break from workshop. Okay. We will come back after opening the general meeting, and then you can pick up if there's anything you'd like to catch. We can use time for that and handle more questions.
Okay. All right. Great.
Super. We'll take a bio break and we'll open up the meeting in a few. We're going to put this meeting on hold. Good evening. Welcome to the Lewisville City Council. We have a quorum, and I'm calling our general meeting to order. First up on tonight's agenda, we have the invocation from Councilmember Lonnie Tipton.
Let us stand. Let us pray. O Lord our God, how excellent is your name in all the earth. Father, we come this evening just praying for this city of Lewisville and its residents. Father, we want to pray for our city manager and her staff. Father, we ask that you continue to bless and keep them. We're praying for our chief of police and our fire chief and their staff. And Father, we ask that you put a hedge of protection around them on and off duty, oh God. Then, Father, we want to pray for the council. We want to ask, oh God, that you continue to allow this council to make decisions that's in the best interest of this city, oh Father. And let this council be a beacon of light and a bottle plate for other cities around the community, oh Father. We want to pray for our county, our state, and our nation, that it will be what you will have it to be. Father, we thank you, we praise you, and we magnify you. Your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Councilmember Green.
Please join me for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Councilmember, you mind joining me down there? You guys, you're swearing with him, not at him, right?
I am.
Okay, outstanding, outstanding. All right, so I have the privilege to certify that Brent Kuykendall, at the general election held in the city of Lewisville, Texas, on the 2nd day of May, 2026, by virtue of having received a majority of the votes cast, has been elected council member place number 1 of the city of Lewisville, Texas, and was on the 13th day of May, 2026, certified by a canvass of the votes by the city council of the city of Lewisville, Texas. Now, therefore, by reason of the provisions of the city charter and ordinances of the city of Lewisville, Texas, you are hereby notified to qualify as the law directs for the said office of council member place number 1 of the city of Lewisville, and therefore to enter upon the discharge of your duties in accordance with the law in such cases made and provided. Witness my hand and the seal of the city of Lewisville on this, the 13th day of May, 2026. T.J. Gilmore, Mayor. Congratulations, Brent. Thank you.
you please raise your right hand and say aye, and then state your name.
I, Brent Kuykendall,
And repeat after me. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the
the
office
duties of the office
of Place 1 on the City Council
Place 1 on the City Council
of the City of Lewisville, State of Texas,
of the City of Lewisville, State of Texas,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my abilities,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and the charter and ordinances of this city.
and the charter and ordinances of this city.
And I furthermore solemnly swear
And I furthermore solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly
that I have not directly or indirectly
paid, offered, or promised to pay,
paid, offered, or promised to pay,
contributed, nor promised to contribute
contributed, nor promised to contribute
any money or valuable thing,
any money or valuable thing,
or promised any public office or employment
or promised any public office or employment
as a reward
for
the giving or withholding
the giving or withholding
a vote at the election at which I was elected.
a vote at the election at which I was elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
There's a microphone right there, right?
Hello, hello. I just want to thank the citizens of Lewisville for electing me to this job. And elections sometimes are divisive and pulling people apart. And I just think I want to ask that we would come together in a spirit of unity and humility and serve this great city and the great people of Lewisville. Thank you.
All right, with that, we are going to go back into our workshop session. We have a few more items to follow up on that one, but want to thank you all for coming out and being involved in your city. That's the key. It's not about being on social media or anti-social media. It's about being and loving your neighbor and being involved in the process. So thank you so much for being here. And we're going to go into that room. If you want to learn more about what we're doing, you are more than welcome to pay attention, grab a seat, or they'll probably run it on the cameras up here. So thank you. We'll be back in a moment. Council, I think Councilmember Green.
Okay, so I've made some notes here, so bear with me. I absolutely agree with you that there is a need for veteran supportive housing. Absolutely everywhere, but also here in Denton County, it is a need, and I agree that it's not being met. And as I am a daughter and a stepdaughter and a granddaughter of a veteran, so this is a cause that is, important to me. I do feel like there is some confusion. I feel like there are two different things that we're talking about here. So we didn't really get a chance to talk about some of these case studies, but when I look at case study, this one here, this is what I would qualify as a supportive housing development. This is specifically targeted to people experiencing chronic homelessness, substance abuse, drug addiction, severe mental health disorders, and other conditions that require wraparound services. So that would be what I'm qualifying that as what I'm calling a supportive housing program, somebody that's able to provide that level of continuum of care, including vouchers for housing, along with dedicated case management, medical assistance care, vocational job training assistance, counseling, etc. What my understanding of the cost of doing something of this nature is that it is quite costly. It is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for a project of this size, for the 48 units. So, so that's the supportive housing. Then there's the LIHTC models. Can you flip this slide to the next one? Sure. Because you did mention that this one is going to be very similar to what you're proposing. And it is presented as a traditional LIHTC multifamily model. Right there.
Yes.
It also is under the, it is marketed as serving 100% veterans. However, it also says right here under participation that there are 20 units out of the 118 units that are set aside specifically for HUD / the BASH vouchers. So that's 17% of the units are set aside for veterans. Now, it's further my understanding, okay, also, if you look on their website, I went and looked at the website for this place today. I only found one mention of a veteran. The word veteran was on there one time. This appears to be, it is geared towards general population. And in my opinion, it appears to be a LIHTC development that is masquerading as a supportive housing project. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing with the Patriot Point, I think it's a beautiful facility. I think it's wonderful that we're talking about putting something in there that's got, some services for veterans. The issue, I have two issues. One is that using the LIHTC model, we cannot discriminate between a veteran or a low-income family that needs that unit. And so we may be able to fill it with veterans 100% because we have the need. However, if the general population gets there first, they get the unit. Correct. Yes, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about that because the way that the LIHTC program is, I mean, the application itself is written for general population. It does not mention veterans. And where did I write this down? I'm sorry, let me find my, I wrote it in here somewhere. So it does not mention the veterans in there, and it also specifically states that it cannot and will not discriminate between people who have any disabilities, that they won't be able to say, okay, well, we're going to hold a unit for you. So I'm not quite sure how they are holding these units that are set aside specifically for. I can
clarify that.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I know that this one can't do it. And so my biggest issue is that, one, we cannot guarantee there's veterans in these units. Two, with the amount of money that's set aside, like I just said, in order for the full wraparound supportive services, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and we're talking about spending less than $12,000 a year. I don't know how we're going to provide the level of care, particularly if we are saying that it's not just this development that it's going to serve, but really any veteran in the community. There are 48 units here, 60 hours a month. That means each unit gets a little over an hour, but then if you start inviting general population around it, it's even further diluted. How are we going to serve these veterans on this budget? That's very concerning to me. I'll just close by saying I agree with you. It's an absolute need, but I don't think that that's what this project is. What this project is a traditional LIHTC multifamily model, and it may be able to provide some services, supportive services for veterans, although it is required to provide supportive services for the general population as part of the LIHTC program, correct? So, yes. So I don't see how, what I'm concerned with is that we're going to end up in a situation where, like this one, it's really geared towards the general population. Like the other Patriot Point that's in Fort Worth, that when you ask them about, what about veterans? Do you have to be a veteran to live here? And they really have absolutely no idea. The whole thing is centered around, it's just a general
low-income housing, life-tech multifamily model. And that is not, that's not what this is being presented as. So I'm not being asked whether I think the traditional life-tech multifamily model is right for, I'm being asked to approve a veteran-focused. And I can't guarantee that this is veteran-focused. I would love it to be. I would love it to be a supportive housing development. I would support that all day long, but I can't see how that's physically going to happen as part of a light-tech program or with this budget. And I'll yield the floor there.
I have to agree. In Kansas City, actually, who was with me when we went and saw that in Kansas City? That is a remarkable program. I would support that till the cows came home and then some, and then when they calved and those cows came home. But something that is in an area that is flanked by low income already, that is being sold with a veteran's bow because that's going to pull on all the heartstrings, but yet there may not be one veteran that's able to get in there by the time the doors are open and the applications come in, because you can't put this application aside and say, oh, well, we got a veteran over here. So it could be occupied 100% low-income multifamily and not one veteran being served. I have an issue with that. I want a facility for veterans. They need it. I don't want a clandestine low-income that is wrapped in a veteran bow and they not get any services. Do you understand where we're coming from?
So, sounded like you had, like, I would love to hear your response on how do they set aside 20 in the San Antonio, and however else you would like to address some of the concerns that we have here.
Okay, great. I'll start with that one. So what they're doing, I'm sorry, wrong side, in the city of San Antonio, they're setting aside 20 units that accept HUD-VASH vouchers. So what that means is it's kind of up to the development to decide how many of these HUD-VASH vouchers they want to choose. And what we've learned and what we do in all of our developments is that mixes of income is incredibly important. Concentrating everybody that makes the same amount of money per year, whether it's 30% or 100%, is not a benefit to the community. You need a staggered mix of income. So what they're doing with that 20 HUD-VASH vouchers is they're saying, we will accept from the VA 20 individuals who qualify for HUD-VASH vouchers that are most likely physically disabled, that don't work, that are fully subsidized, and most of the time they're people that have a lot of needs. And you mentioned the supportive services cost. You're exactly correct. Supportive services are very expensive. This is not a supportive housing development. The reason it's expensive is because you need about one case manager per 4 or 5 units dedicated to those 4 or 5 units, and they get paid about $20,000 or $25,000 a year. So you can see how you might need 5, and that might cost you, $125,000 a year just in case managers. But what we're doing, which is kind of in between, is we got an awesome peer network coordinator, Casey. They run an outstanding your community in Roanoke, Veteran Point. They have a clubhouse that we have modeled our clubhouse after. We went out there and toured with them, and we said, this is fantastic. You got an arts and crafts room, a fitness class, a class here, and we designed our space after them. And he's told us all the stories about the number of veterans that come to their community, that have peer-to-peer networks. We understand we can't guarantee 100% veterans are going to live in the community.
Guarantee me 75% of that would be veterans.
We were not allowed to guarantee you that. I wish I could. But what we can guarantee, what we can guarantee you is a PD restricted zoning site plan that requires veteran services on site. And it will be manned by NVPN, and we already are entered into an MOU where they're capable of providing those services. I know there was concerns about the amount of the monthly fee that we're paying them. We're flexible on that. We're at a starter point, and if Casey says, look, we've got more veterans, we need more money, if we can make it happen, we will. We're giving them $50,000 as a startup fee to really start off the full year, but we can keep that ongoing. 60 hours per month usually most likely includes a couple-hour events on a Tuesday and a couple-hour events on a Thursday, and then a 6-hour golf outing with 20 veterans that's sponsored by our community, where we've got veterans going and golfing together and gaining support and community. I know 60 hours a month doesn't sound like a lot, but when you chop it up between the weekends and the weeknights, it's the extra time that's left over after a normal workday that we're filling in with services. I'm sorry, I might have missed some of your questions.
But that is not the residential aspect of it. That is the...
Sure.
Which is awesome, okay? I'm worried about the residential aspect of it, because we have, it's so disproportionate, the homeless veterans compared to your general pop. I mean...
Can I try to add something on that? So I mentioned at the end of our part 2 that we reached out to the Dallas County VA, and we found out that they serve Lewisville. Most of their vouchers go to Lewisville. And we said, how many vouchers do you have in total across your 30-mile radius? They had about 700 active. We said, how many do you have in Lewisville? And the answer was only about 22. And that's staggeringly low. And we said, why is there only 22 vouchers being utilized in the city of Lewisville? And the response was, well, there's only 1 or 2 properties that comes to us that says we'll accept your vouchers. And one of those is Autumn Breeze. This is an outstanding community. I wish Christina, the manager, was here, but we've met with her quite a bit. She's awesome. She's supporting our development. We're almost a competitor, but we're really all one community in this sense. And she knows there's more veterans that need to be served, and she's already told us, look, it's an easy process. Once you build your building, just call me, and I'll get you filled up with veterans. How do we document that? It's a challenge. I think one of the easiest things we can do is say the city has input on our marketing plan, on our ability to market. It can't trigger fair housing issues, but as long as we market primarily to veterans, we can control who we market to. We just can't control who walks in the door and who we actually sign up to live there. The other option that we brought before you that we weren't a part of was what we've done before with other cities is request funding a nominal amount and in turn receive some sort of additional restrictions. We're trying to offer those restrictions through a PD. If what we're offering doesn't comply with the city's legal standards, then if it's a $10,000 grant with deed restrictions, that's another avenue we'd be willing to take.
And remember, we're not making a decision here today. We're having a conversation. I think it's important that you hear what we're trying to do. What I think is interesting and different in this conversation is those HUD VASH vouchers that actually, that's a Section 8 or like a Section 8 voucher. And so those actually can be committed to an X number of units, and you can be audited on that. And so these are connected, though. This VASH is actually connected to VA. So that's a federal thing. That's not us imposing something we can't impose. That's the federal government's imposing something that they can via the Section 8 program. So that gives me a little comfort. My question is, how many of those are you committed to?
Yeah, it's a good question. What we want to do is make sure we're not building 100% HUD VASH voucher unit.
Understood, and which is why the program is designed.
20% is a really good rule of thumb, and that's what this apartment community did. Okay. On a 48-unit deal, we were talking about a really small development. Right. 20% is only 8 units, 9 units. But we can certainly look at that. Adrian, my partner Adrian might want to weigh in.
Yeah, no, I mean we can increase that number.
And again, I think what the concern is, so I don't want to push too far, because I'm also hearing council say my concern is I don't want to concentrate low income. You say you don't want to concentrate low income. My one thing that I can see in all this that guarantees I get veterans is low income. So those things pull against each other.
Or he was bringing something out about a deed restriction, but our city manager has a question.
I just wanted to clarify, so the 20% set aside for the HUD VASH, is that how you say it?
HUD VASH.
So are those, if you do not have folks that come in and say they want those units with that HUD the voucher, does it sit empty until you find one? Or?
It would, hypothetically, but the demand is there that they're almost always filled. There's such a big pipeline of individuals that qualify and they have a voucher, but they don't have a place to go to. And as soon as units become available, they typically always get filled immediately.
But But you could not place anybody else except for a veteran there.
Except for a voucher holder, a HUD-dash voucher holder, which is it's essentially a veteran that also qualifies for Section 8.
Okay.
So that's what the HUD-dash terminology really is.
Go back to what you were talking about, deed restrictions. You had mentioned something and then...
Well, I mentioned that we're proposing to restrict ourselves currently through a PD. Through a PD, we're proposing that we must have a resident services building. It must provide so many hours per month of services for veterans. That's the extent of we, as the applicant, can propose. What we've done in the city of Dallas frequently is we've received a city loan, and in turn, the city has restricted the development to require certain, in most cases, levels of income. Maybe it's additional 30% units or additional 60% units. And so now we have TDHCA restrictions and the city restrictions, and both have to comply. So that's what we came to you before trying to request, but we have also learned that because it's a fair housing issue, the city can take on a lot of liability trying to do that. And
you know, it kills me, the term fair housing. Yeah. Where is she? Where she goes? She's sitting over there taking some.
I'm making notes.
Make notes, okay?
I'm making notes.
That, you know, we're in a huge campaign cycle and everything's veterans, veterans, veterans until the election. And then the veterans are under the tree in a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
They can carve out seniors, and I'm now a senior citizen, and I'm thankful for that. But what makes that possible is our veterans and the freedoms that they fought for, but they can't carve them out and give them a special. I don't understand that, and I never will. I never will, Miss Ellen. Take that home.
I'm going to email you later because I have questions.
Okay.
Now the other thing that I'm hearing here, and I'm a little worried we're conflating types. I mean, I totally get the supportive services model. That has never been proposed for this space. That has never been something that Titanium has brought to the table. So I'm worried that we're conflating that a little bit. I get the supportive service model. They also require endowments of multiple millions of dollars to keep them sustainable, which is not something this council has, had a conversation about wanting to support.
Right, but some of the examples shown here are supportive services.
And that's fair. That conflates.
So this is being presented as a supportive service example, but it's not.
Yeah. So I would say that does conflate.
Yes.
But in my head, I'm not seeing this as a supportive services model. I'm seeing this as a resource model.
Right.
I'm seeing this as possibly a way that we can get some of those Denton County resources down here, because I know our veterans are going up to Denton County, and I know they're doing hard work up there. We have a beautiful, Congressman Burgess was able to get funded a beautiful facility up there, but it's still a burden to get up there. So I'm supportive of the concept, but I don't know if we go far enough or not. I mean, I see.
I'm worried that the amount of funding here is not going to meet the need, and what I'm afraid of is that we end up having this whole thing here so we can have these services. We can have a house and services for veterans, and then no veterans end up housed, and they can't get the services either because they're so limited because of the available funding. That's what my concern is. And then all of this, the purpose behind all of this is going to be diminished because we can't guarantee a veteran a unit. And we only have a very small number of service hours that we can provide veterans. And we obviously we spent a whole lot of time talking about the number of veterans that need these services. And
would there be a number you feel better about?
I mean, this is not my level of expertise. I just know
what units?
Hours.
Hours.
I'm still trying to guarantee you.
I would be leaning on the experts here to tell me, with a development of this size or with the number of veterans that we have in this community, what is appropriate?
Sure. One quick question. Is there any way to make the service center just veteran only, just veterans and their families? Can that be restricted?
Yes. If we want to, because we will have a clubhouse in the community center that we can use to meet the TDHCA requirements for, if there's general there, So yes, we can.
Okay, so just what we've been able to do at Veterans Point, which is in the Roanoke, Flower Mound area, beautiful property. Please come tour. I'd love to have you all there. But we see about 10,000 veterans and family members each year that we do we use the term interactions, because we don't really look at them as clients. Everything we do is under the guide of peer support. So the peer support model, myself, Marine Corps veteran, 2 tours to Afghanistan. So I have my own story that I can share with other veterans that are going through whatever experience they're going through, whether it's substance use, trying to find housing, find employment, do their disability benefits. I can use my story and the story of the other veterans in our community to kind of help them along the way, navigate the VA benefit system, navigate any hurdles that might pop up. So it's all through the lens of peer support. And that's where I think kind of some of this terminology using case management gets very expensive. Clinical social work gets very expensive. Counselors get very expensive. Peer support, we're able to kind of have force multipliers of all these other peers in our community. We have probably 200 to 300 at any given time. They're just out in the community running peer groups for us, interacting with veterans one-on-one, providing those peer support services to the veterans that mirror a lot of those more kind of case management roles of helping with employment, helping with disability benefits, but it all starts from a place of a peer. So disability benefits is an easy one. Paul Bassage, our county VSO, we refer veterans to him all the time, and they have very small 30-minute time frames that you can schedule an appointment with the county VSO. We have the capacity and the availability to sit down with some of those veterans for 3 hours at a time and explain the entire process of disability benefits. And it's not just helping with their paperwork and then on to the next client, because we stay with them. It's very relational rather than transactional. So with that being said, if they have a compensation pension exam coming up and their anxiety's through the roof, they don't know how to articulate certain answers, or they get denials that can be devastating, they fall back on us because we built that relational kind of key with them while we still get them out there to the more transactional service, whether it be employment, clinical counseling. Again, we're supervised by Denton County and HMR Center, so they cover a lot of that substance use, post-traumatic stress, kind of more clinical serious issues, while we maintain that kind of more holistic relational piece. So as far as what can we do, we've done a whole lot with a whole little amount. I think our annual budget that we get from the state after salaries, it's myself and Becca is my community engagement director. After that's done, we have a $15,000 annual budget to do everything that we do, everything that I just mentioned. That includes taking the veterans out, hiking, fishing, golfing, horseback riding. We have an equine program, $15,000. So we're able to stretch money by using those force multipliers and using community partners like the county VSO, like the workforce commission, like anything else for those more transactional needs.
So are you saying that you could provide the same services here as you do in Roanoke for $15,000 a year?
So that's where that little jump comes in. That $50,000 initial will definitely help us be able to pay all of our peer group facilitators are all volunteer based right now. So that would be more of an incentive to get veteran peer group facilitators that live over in the Roanoke, Flower Mound area to come out and spend those hours here in Lewisville, if we can compensate them for those times that they're here for peer groups, for one-on-one peer support. So I do think that we'd be able to not only, 48 is very manageable in our eyes, but as you said, open it up to the community and have all the veteran and family members out of Lewisville be able to come there and meet with us for those one-on-one peer support. And then in the surrounding area, like Leela Nature Preserve, we do hikes there all the time and bring a bunch of veterans. So just utilizing all the surrounding areas to offer that relational peer support.
That's what I was going to ask you, if it was available for everybody or just people living there.
Everybody.
Casey? I'm sorry.
So as long as you're saying that as long as you have that initial $50,000 and then a $15,000 every year for every year that you're going to operate there, that would be sufficient?
Yeah, we've used that budget I've been doing this for 10 years. We used that budget for the last 8 years. Just recently we were able to get, like Texas Health Resources gave us $300,000 to expand our services. Texas Veteran Commission just approved us for $150,000. So we use our grant programs to be able to just not to kind of get out of just Veterans Point, because a lot of that one-on-one peer support, there really isn't a lot of, there's not a lot of expenses that come from sitting down and sharing stories and helping guide somebody through a service. But when we look externally into the community and doing things like the Leela Nature Preserve hikes, if we take them golfing, if the equine program has a pretty hefty expense, we use grants to kind of pay for a lot of those.
And your organization has the capacity to take this on, considering all the other stuff you already have on your plate?
I believe so, yes. It's just creating more force multipliers, creating more peer support specialists in this area, being able to compensate them to come and run peer groups and meet directly with the veterans and the families. I don't think it's something that we've been talking about for quite a while, finding another location, kind of a duplicate at Veterans Point. We've had those conversations with the city of Denton quite a bit, the Denton County Commissioner and Judge Andy Eads about getting another property. So I think this would open that door, and if we're able to put those restrictions on it, then it's exactly what we need to be able to provide more services over here in Lewisville.
Is 1,500 square feet enough?
Yes, based on what the blueprints that I've seen, that is enough. What we have at Veterans Point, we have an art room, which is mirrored in this one. We have a weight room, which on the property, so we probably won't have that because that property won't be open. The weight room won't be open for general population. But different meeting areas, we have 2 counseling areas, a kitchen, and then kind of a larger space to provide a lot of those more like training, marriage management classes. So any families that are going through struggles in their marriage, we have outside partners come in. Paul Bassage, the county VSO, can come give classes on aging veterans, what burial benefits look like, different education benefits that come through. So having just a center like that, having space to have those kind of lunch and learns, if you will, that's a big part of it. Other than that, you really don't need a lot of space for peer groups and one-on-one peer support. Now, I won't give back if someone wants to give us like a 4,000 square foot building. I won't say no, so.
Space is always.
Just keep that in the back of your head, yeah.
Space is always a premium.
Pops up.
Other questions, comments? All right. Claire, do you need anything more?
No, there's no decision to be made today. I think it's just making sure you guys had all the information you needed.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the amount of research and the amount of deep dive. I appreciate you listening to our concerns, and I do. I mean, I see. Yeah, we want a place that's safe. We don't want to concentrate poverty. It sounds like you have similar goals in mind. What we have to defend against, trying to, at least in my head, what I have to figure out is, I have a piece of land there that I also have a development right next to it that's in pretty bad shape. And if I encumber this, I lose the opportunity maybe to create something bigger out of, and I get that. That's sometimes it's bird in the hand versus 2 in the bush, but that's what I'm trying to get my head wrapped around. And I think this would be a no-brainer if you could say, I got 48 of these that can be veterans. It's not a problem. We're down the road. I get the issue, though, is that we have this fairness and equity thing in this country where we want to be good to everybody, and so we got to figure out how we can use the rules that we have to get the most out of what we want. So I appreciate the education. I think it gives all of us something more to chew on, and I'm sure staff will come back with some additional questions. When we talk about PDs and that type of stuff, we'll have to have a conversation around what's possible there. It sounds like, but I appreciate your time and thank you. These are always hard conversations, but I appreciate you not just obviously throwing it across the table. You obviously spent some time trying to figure this out.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Council.
All right, with that, we're going to go back into regular session, so our workshop is adjourned.
I'm sorry.
All right, we're going to reconvene back into regular session. It is 7:43, so anybody that's thinking we were going to get out of here before 7:30, you lost the bet today. With that, we're going to go item D1, public hearing, consideration of an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance by granting a special use permit for an accessory structure on approximately .4132 acres, legally described as Highview Addition Block A, Lot 7, located at 528 DeGan Avenue, and zone single-family residential R7.5 district, providing for a savings clause, repeal or severability penalty, and effective date is requested by Larry Seeley, the property owner, case number 26-04-7-SUP. The property owner is seeking to demolish the existing wooden detached garage and replace it with a new modern metal garage with an attached carport. While Lewisville's Unified Development Code includes supplemental regulations for accessory buildings, accessory structures, the applicant cannot meet the specific building maximum or compatibility standards. Consequently, the applicant is requesting a special use permit. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 6-0 on April 21st, 2026, and it's recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance set forth in the caption above. We have Mr. Richard Ludke, our Planning Director, available for questions, and the public hearing on this is now open. City Secretary, do we have any comment cards for this one? Okay. I have no requests for public comment. Doesn't sound like we have any questions. If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I have one.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. On the existing property, there's a carport there right now. Are they planning on tearing that one down and rebuilding it?
There's actually two. One is at the end of the existing driveway. That one will remain. The smaller one attached to the existing building will be removed.
So they will attach the carport to the new metal building?
One will remain freestanding, and there will be a new one attached to the carport.
Okay, so it'll be two?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we had no opposition from any of the residents?
No, the applicant did a really good job of communicating with neighboring properties and everyone. There's no opposition in the area.
Okay. I'm good.
Other questions or comments? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Once the software resets.
Move to approve the ordinance set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item E, Visitors Forum. Speakers must address their comments to the mayor rather than to individual council members or staff. Speakers should speak clearly and state their name and city of residence prior to beginning their remarks. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes for testimony. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken at a future meeting. City Secretary, do we have any public comment for visitors? All right. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to item F, our consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests. For a member of the public to request removal of an item, a speaker card or e-comment must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. There is a card? Okay. So do we have any cards for items on consent? Awesome. I'm going to request that item 5 be pulled, that is a conflict for me. And then I have Brittany Brown requesting that agenda item number 3 be pulled, which is the economic development agreement between Lewisville and Nevermore Properties. So I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, absent items 3 and 5. Unless there's another one that council.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda minus items 3 and 5 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. All right, council approved 5-0 the consent agenda minus items 3 and 5. Item 3, approval of the economic development agreement between the City of Lewisville and Nevermore Properties, LLC, and authorization for the city manager or her designee to execute the agreement. Nevermore Properties owns property located at 170 West Main Street and proposes to renovate the first floor of the building to operate Nevermore Tavern, an immersing Edgar Allan Poe themed bar and tavern. The project includes interior and exterior improvements, facade enhancements, and installation of a mural. The proposed economic development incentive includes a grant equal to the percentage of mixed beverage taxes and sales taxes collected by the city for the project for 10 years, 75% for years 1 through 5 and 50% for years 6 through 10. A grant of up to 50% of the mural installation costs with a maximum of $10,000. A grant of up to 50% of the facade improvement costs with a maximum limit of $40,000. And 4, a waiver equal to 100% of all fees paid to the city at the time of applying for a building permit for the real property investments. As part of the agreement, the company will complete required improvements, operate establishment, install and maintain a mural, and lease 16 parking spaces to the city for public use. Funding is available in the Old Town Facade Capital Project and the Economic Development Incentives Capital Project. It's recommended that the City Council approve the agreement and authorize the city manager or designee to execute the agreement as set forth in the caption above. All right, so we will open comment on that. Brittany Brown, are you present? And you didn't mark if you were willing to speak or not, so you don't have to if you don't want to.
I'd love to.
But yes, we'd love to have you. If you could please state your name and your city of residence for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Brittany Brown. My city of residence is Flower Mound, but I am a business owner here in Lewisville on 123 West Main Street. I own the Pink Chapel Market. Thank you guys so much for giving me just a moment to speak. Am I good to go, Mayor?
You're good to go.
Okay, awesome. So I was just coming up because I opened a business in 2025 down here in Old Town on Main Street. And at the time of opening the business, I went through the whole phase of, going through permitting and all of that. And I wasn't aware of any city contribution or taxpayer contributions that were available to new businesses that were coming. I am in a historic building, and there are several buildings and several businesses down in Old Town that are really struggling right now and having a difficult time with some that have been long existing, 8 to 10 years. Some like myself that are brand new that could really use some support. And so I just kind of was a little unaware that these things were available and just kind of wanted to see how that process goes and how does this benefit taxpayers across the board. Having a tavern like this, I understand that it could bring a little bit of some revenue with beverage sales. I know that can be a big thing for a city, but my business as well brings quite a bit of revenue into our city as well. We have sold around $150,000 worth of revenue just in our first 8 months of being here.
Ms. Brown, we have to keep this really focused on the particulars of Nevermore.
Yes, sure.
But the rest of it, we can actually get staff to work with you on.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so in terms of Nevermore specifically, I just am trying to figure out how does it benefit the taxpayer dollars for across the board, our business dollars, to fund something like this for such a large amount over a period of time, and just kind of how does that benefit our citizens here in Lewisville?
Gotcha. All right, thank you for the comments.
Okay.
Questions? I would say, benefits on this are always something that you have to balance. There were economic development grants that were given, and we've actually gotten a lot of feedback that small businesses, the residents would like to see what small businesses we could help to support, so I could see this as part of that process. The mural program is one that we've had for a long time, so that's that $40,000 is typically for external facade improvements, those types of things. And then as part of the other benefits that we're seeing here is freeing up 16 parking spots to be allowed for the public use, which I think would be at the back of the building. So those are some of the things.
Yes, sir.
We might quibble over what the dollars are or not.
Yeah.
But the other piece of this, that as a business owner down here myself, additional foot traffic is a great thing.
Of course, yeah.
And so if we can create more destinations down here, I'm hopeful for that. But
right, yeah,
but again,
absolutely.
I don't know where council's going to fall on this conversation, but those are just the things that go through my head on this.
And is that available for all businesses to apply for, is my big question?
Usually when you're a new business, there's an opportunity to apply for that type of stuff. There's not, the structure maybe isn't as large as it has been historically for bigger businesses. Typically, we do economic development for bringing in jobs and positions. Okay. But like Buffalo Hirsch, we did a program to be able to bring that down. Okay. So there's these there are some rules, but they can be kind of negotiated one by one. I think what you're expressing is outside of Nevermore, and we can talk with you about that offline for staff to maybe do some sort of education and whatnot to see what might be available.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, just those things were not made clear to me, so
Super.
I didn't know if y'all just pick and choose which ones that get it or don't get it, or if it's an application process and kind of making that streamline across the board.
Ms. Brown, it is an application process. We have our policies online, but staff is happy to reach out to you to educate you to see what's available to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Council, if there are no further comments or questions on this one, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve item 3 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote.
Uh-oh, I'm not getting it.
Oh, you're not voting? You're abstaining?
It's not giving
Oh, it's not
me-
clicking. Okay.
It's not giving me, Chris.
We're gonna put a chair up here for you, Chris.
This is what. This is
Actually,
what
just
happened to-
Patrick's chair. It's fine.
What are we doing? Me, then you, me, Ronnie, then. It's on the side of the house.
See how they have the
Gotcha.
option to vote?
C:\format?
No.
No?
Please no.
There we go. Thank you.
All right, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, council. I'm going to step away from item 5. Councilmember Cade, can you run the boat on that one?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Do I do this and the other? No, just this. Item 5, the project consists of street paving, replacement, sidewalk replacement, installation of new water and sanitary sewer lines, alley reconstruction, ADA improvements within the Lewisville Valley 1 neighborhood. The existing streets are currently 27-foot wide concrete residential streets with 4-foot wide sidewalks on each side. City staff has negotiated Phase 1 of the professional services agreement with Garver in the amount of $1,193,929.80. I like that 80 cents you got in there. To include public outreach, conceptual design, topographic surveying, and subsurface utility engineering. This project is funded under the Lewisville Valley 1 Capital Project. Do I have a motion? Oh, I do.
Yes. Move to approve the agreement as set forth in the caption above and authorize the city manager or designee to execute the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And vote. Oh, did I vote?
Yeah, you
Yes, I did. Oh,
He's coming.
come on. We denied it.
All right.
Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor.
Item 10. Ronnie, get out of here.
I will have to recuse myself on that.
Item 10, consideration of an economic development agreement between the City of Lewisville and TSMA Holdings, LLC, the authorization for the deputy city manager or her designee to execute the agreement. TSMA Holdings owns property located at 301 South Mill Street in Old Town, adjacent to the city's new Pocket Park, and proposes to install a mural on the building. The mural would be consistent with approved design plans and is intended to enhance the visual character of the property and surrounding area. This agreement provides for a one-time economic development grant up to 50% of the eligible mural installation costs, not to exceed $10,000. Funding is available in the Old Town Facade Capital Project. It's recommended that the City Council approve the agreement and authorize the deputy city manager or her designee to execute the agreement as set forth in the caption. With that, I'll entertain a motion unless there's any comment.
I just had a quick comment about this space. I absolutely love how much this little pocket park has transformed that space, and this is going to be the cherry on top, this mural. So with that, I move to approve the agreement and authorize the deputy city manager or her designee to execute the agreement as set forth in the caption.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes 4-0. Somebody can have Councilmember Cade. There we go. Item 11, consideration of initiating the board and commission's committee appointment process and the creation of city council subcommittees. On June 30th, 2026, various terms of office of the city's boards, commissions, and committees will be expiring. These positions have been identified and current appointees notified. City Council will need to identify city council subcommittees to review eligible reappointees, new applicants, and provide nominees for council's consideration at a future city council meeting. It's recommended that the city council initiate the board, commission, committee appointment process and create the city council subcommittees as set forth in the caption above. Council, if there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
All right. Hang with me. Mayor, I move to initiate the board, commission, committee appointment process and create the city council subcommittees as follows. Mayor Pro Tem Cade and Councilmember Kuykendall, Community Development Block Grant Advisory Committee, Library Board, Park Board, Lewisville Parks and Library Development Corporation, 4B, and Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 4. Councilmember Kelly and Councilmember Meredith, Old Town Design Review Committee, Planning and Zoning Commission, Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 2, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Lewisville Local Government Corporation, and Capital Improvements Advisory Committee. Councilmember Green and Councilmember Tipton, Arts Advisory Board, Animal Service Advisory Board, Advisory Committee, Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1, Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 3, and Fire, Crime Control and Prevention and Emergency Medical District.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item H is reports. Reports about items of community interest regarding which no action will be taken. We do have in our packets our boards, commissions, and committees quarterly attendance report for the period of January 1 through March 26 through March 31st, 2026. And I do not have any staff reports. Councilmember Green, can we start with you and work our way down?
I have nothing to report.
All right. Councilmember Tipton?
I have nothing, sir.
Councilmember Cade?
Nope, let's get on with it.
Councilmember Meredith?
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Kuykendall?
Nothing to report.
All right. City Manager? I do have one event, and it's for this Saturday from 12 to 3 p.m. at Thrive. There is a great event called Learn Lewisville. You'll be able to meet the people and programs that support our great city, connect with city departments, discover resources for your home, your neighborhood, and the community. You can find out about neighborhood improvement programs, sustainability resources, volunteer opportunities, community events, and services. So again, at Thrive this Saturday from noon to 3, I think there's even snacks. So you come on by, meet your city departments and all the folks that work for you, and find out some great things to help improve your neighborhood. With that, we are going to move into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.072, Real Estate Property Acquisition, Section 551.074, Personnel, Discussion of Election of Mayor Pro Tem and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, Selection, and Section 551.087, Economic Development, Deliberation regarding Economic Development Negotiations. We are in closed session.
I'm going to fight.
we are done with closed session, and as there is no further action to be taken on tonight's agenda, oh, no, we do need a motion. Yeah, we need that motion to close all that, right? Wait. The nominees for Mayor Pro Tem and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem. Hold on. Yeah, we need that one. So, Council, I need a motion for Mayor Pro Tem and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, I'm going blind here, but I move to nominate, who did we say, William for the Mayor Pro Tem and Lonnie for the Deputy Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, gosh.
I need a second. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
No, you're
All right,
opposed.
now there is no further action to be taken on tonight's agenda, so we stand adjourned.